Good morning, thanks for coming. Look, what I'm going to talk to you a little bit today is developing inclusive classrooms that are accessible for all our students. I'm Steve, I'm from Brisbane, Queensland. I teach at a school of 1,500 girls, so that's fun in itself. We have very diverse classrooms that we face each day, and it's our job, it's up to us to provide a classroom that's both inclusive and has accessibility to the curriculum materials, particularly for our students. We're going to look this morning at talking about across reading, writing, maths and simple communication, and look at some of the tools that are already built into Office 365 that hopefully will provide a greater accessible classroom. Look, accessibility is required by over 1 billion students, but providing an accessible classroom has benefits for all our students, regardless of the accessibility issue that they have, be it visual, hearing, cognitive, speech, mobility and neural. So we've got to look at ways that we can address that. The figure here that's striking is that 73% of teachers report they've got reading ages across 4 different ages, which is alarming. It's not a level playing field. So we've got to look at ways of leveling that playing field. This slide personally for me made a difference about 3 to 4 years ago. I didn't understand dyslexia. I just thought they messed a few words up, to be honest, and that Richard Branson guy is doing pretty well. And one of the learning support teachers showed me this. And if you look at that, that's what some of our students see every lesson of every day, every week. Can you imagine the challenge to their cognitive load? And we've got to do something about that. That's part of our role, part of our job. So what we've got here is basically, they call it the periodic table of Microsoft Learning Tools. And on the left-hand side are all the features that are available for students. And we're going to have a look at some of them this morning. And across horizontally are all the applications that it's available over OneNote, Word, PowerPoint, Edge. If you're a Flipgrid user, Flipgrid now has the Immersive Reader built right into it. And I'm a maths teacher, so I've got something here that I'm going to show you that I'm pretty buzzed about as well. It's already built into the maths helper. So we'll take a little bit of a look at some of the features. And the first one I'll jump into is the Windows 10 version of OneNote. Now, what I've got there, I'll just drop that down a little bit. And that's an activity, a text-based activity I had for my students. And as you can see, it's quite text-dense. And what we've got available to us here, if we use the Immersive Reader, automatically, visually it's a little bit bigger, it's clearer. Now, unfortunately, due to the headphone setup, you won't hear what I'm about to do next. But the big button down here, if it does what it says on the packet, I press that and it will speak to the student. It'll walk them through that. And we can vary the language, the speed, the male, the female version of that. So we're just going to take that as a given. You'll see it animate there. But what's exciting for us are the tools up here. Text preferences. We can change the size, the space, the color and the font. Look, something as simple as that. The learning support team at our school says that is ideal for a student who has dyslexia, the blue, black with the Comic Sans. I know Comic Sans gets a terrible rap, but from a dyslexic student point of view, that does make life a little bit easier for them. Grammar options. Now, if you're English challenged like myself, I went to school to do maths, physics and play sport and eat my lunch. Okay, English was a necessary evil. Syllables. And we can turn on verbs. So we can look at parts of speech. And again, we can run that with the audio on as well. So we can identify different parts of speech with students. Look, it's even this adaptive. If you have a student who has color blindness and they can't pick up various colors, you can actually tailor the colors that show up, the parts of speech for their color blindness. So that's looking at the parts of speech. This one here, line focus. Visual clutter is a real challenge for students in terms of cognitive load and dual channeling. So we try and reduce that. So we can reduce the line focus depending on the student. We turn the line focus on there. That will work on one line at a time. Okay, we jump back in there. We can change that line focus up, which when I turn it back off, it's going to work again. No, something's missing there for me. We'll just turn the focus off. This one I liked. I wish I had it when my daughters were at school. turn the picture dictionary on, particularly for younger students. Some of the words, snowboarding, pops up, and it's got the audio that goes with it. Winter, air, sliding, okay? So again, there's that visual cluing and cueing that assists with the cognitive load, that dual channeling that we need to work with certain students. So that's it. Some of the features are the one that we won't, watching my clock here. Oh, how brave do I feel today? Let's translate the document from one language to another. And it's a shame you can't hear this, because when it pops into the French here, and I play it in French, it actually auto-detects it's French and gives you a lovely French accent. So you don't have the Stephen Hawking-ish Australian person reading the French, you have a wonderful French accent coming through. I've never been brave enough to do this with a group of French people to see how accurate the translation is. But if you'd heard Travis Smith talk earlier about AI, the AI with this translation is becoming so much better and it's much more accurate. So I hope nobody, I usually pick a subject like ancient Greek and put that up as the translated language because nobody knows how accurate it is. And again, the shame there, if we played that through, you'd hear the French. So that's the reading of better. And you've got the toggles up here. We can toggle back to the English, into the French. Okay. So jump out of that for a tick. One of the uses a student did for me with this, and I'll keep it in Onenote for a minute. It's a little bit contrived, the example for today's display, but a lot of the times in science, the girls, I refer to the students as girls, my apologies, question answer in Onenote. They read the question, they write, or they type the answer. So some of the ways we can have a more inclusive and accessible classroom is using two tools built into a number of the suites. And the first one you've seen, the student here, she would turn the Immersive Reader on. She would read the question. Boom. Good. She'd now come and answer the question. Select the box here. Now here's where it's going to get a little bit dangerous because I don't know how well this is going to pick up with my mic. But the young lady in question now, the difference between the structure of a plant cell and the animal cell is essentially the cell membrane, which I'm crossing my fingers is hoping to be the animal cell. Now, that's not my workflow. That was a dyslexic student I was working with last year's workflow. She can now do a science worksheets easily. She's not suffering the headaches. She's not suffering the fatigue that goes with it. We're actually doing academic care for this young girl. Okay? And then she took it another step. She goes, and what I do now, Mr. C, is I go back into view and I hit Immersive Reader and I read my answer back to me to see if it makes sense. Right? So she'll come in here, there's a question, there's her answer, she'll hit play and she'll hear it back to herself and that makes sense to her now. Awesome workflow. I said, I'm going to steal that, Ruby. And I told her I'd use her name in every presentation to give her credit for her work. So that's lovely. And I did mention earlier about being a maths teacher. Have a look at this one for maths students. So there's a simple equation. If I grab that equation, where I've lost my little, it's dropped off my side here, unfortunately. View, 2 ticks. No, he's fallen off the side. Draw. Ah, there we have him. There. So ink to text is good. I'm going to solve it. Not only that, I'm going to show the steps. So it's walked it through, but there's a little icon that a lot of people miss. Top right-hand corner, it's got the Immersive Reader for solving a maths equation. So the student can be walked through and read through the solving a simple maths equation using Maths Helper. So there are 2 things that are kicking in there. One, we've got the digital inking going, we've got the equation solver, and a lot of students you'll find at home, all they need is a little bit of a nudge, a push. Ah, that's right, boom, boom, boom. But to have the Immersive Reader built into that, and I'm going to keep coming back to the fact that having it built in is huge. Come into, same document as before, using it in Word Online. We use Word 2016 or Word Online or OneNote. But here's something that's very positive. So there's exactly the same document. We're using it in Word Online. But if I go to the Review tab, apologies, the View tab. Oh, It's funny how when your screen has changed, you lose. Two secs. No, I've completely lost where. Two ticks. I'm looking for the Immersive Reader actually, but I've lost it because my screen's a little bit compressed. It's normally under there. I'll come back to that one. Jump into the internet. A number of the things we ask students to do nowadays, internet-based. Go visit the web page, read the page, write some notes, take some notes on it. And again, I take it back to a number of students. There's a lot of visual clutter up on that page. And particularly in some web pages, my daughter in particular would get dragged down to the click on this, click on this, click on this, and we wouldn't get the homework done. If the web page has, you see the little reading view tab on the URL bar. If the web page has that, supports that, click on that. And you'll see straight away, it strips the page down into plain text. Visual clutter is gone, visual distractions are gone. So the student is purely focused on the article at hand, looking at that article. And it still comes with quite a number of the tools. We have our text options, we have the read aloud options there, and we have some of the learning tools built in there again. So we can actually change the structure of the web page to make it a much simpler view for the students involved in that. If it doesn't, a lot of web pages don't have that read aloud ability available to them. By the way, we're using the Edge browser here, by the way. It is from the browser Edge there. If it doesn't have the little icon up here, the read aloud icon there, the reading view, 3 buttons on the right-hand side, you'll see there we've got the read aloud tab, little button there. So it will still read. It won't remove the visual clutter, but if I'm looking at that and I'm using that, teaching the girls to use it, I tell them just to put their insertion point in the page, click it down here, read aloud, and there it goes. Headphones on, silent space, reading through the web page there. And it's trying to keep them focused on the job and not hit the clickbait that's scattered around some of the websites that we have. So we have 2 clear options there. Use the read aloud tool if it exists, and if not, on the right hand side of the Edge browser, click on the read aloud. Now I'm watching my clock here. So just 2 ticks. Come back to the slide here. These are quotes from teachers. It's an empowering tool. It's just there. They don't have to have anything special added in. But we do need to bring it to their awareness. We need to bring it to the awareness of our staff, the teachers that are responsible, and to the students. Okay? Being a digital native doesn't help you with this sort of thing. They need to be taught and they need to be reminded. Even as a teacher, and I know this is here, the dictation feature, which I haven't done. I'll jump back into that in a second. And we know this as teachers to be true. Students will go without rather than stand out. Okay? I don't want anything special. I won't even bring it to your attention because I don't want the focus. I've got enough going on in my life without making a big deal of this. So it's very, very important that we educate them. And Mike Tolson talks about it. No one should have to ask for access. It should just be there. And one of the good things about the Office 365 suite, it is, and it's called Learning Tools. It's incumbent on us to become aware of what's available, when it can be used, how it can be used, and to get that across to the students. One of the challenges I've had with teachers at my school in particular, sometimes we associate learning tools with students with special needs. And the message we're trying to get across now is it's accessibility for all students. All students, regardless of abilities or accessibility issues, benefit from using the learning tools, particularly the dictation. As a writer, imagine having the opportunity just to open your Word document. And here we go, I'm really going to put my neck out here if I can find my Word icon. 2 ticks, I'll do it the old-fashioned way. Right, so here we have it, there we go. There's the read aloud type. We're in Word 2016 now. There's the read aloud, so it's a Word document, read aloud's there, click play, it will be read through to them. Something that is even more appealing for the students. I'll come down here, home, we showed you it earlier. the dictate feature. Sometimes the girls struggle with writing what they're thinking. So I say to them, just tell your story, speak. Hit the dictate button. And here we go. I am a Liverpool supporter. I think Liverpool are the best team in the world, and I could stand here and talk to this audience for at least 2 hours about how good Liverpool Football Club is as a team. So again, we run the read aloud over that. The students can edit it, but they've got their thoughts from here to here. The keyboard for me gets in the way of some of the active learning. They stop, they're worried about formatting, they're worried about spacing. Just tell your story, Dale. There's the prompt, there's the cue, tell your story. Okay? So, there's the Learning Tools apps. Something also on the Microsoft Educator community side, it's a short course on dyslexia and awareness of dyslexia. Okay, it's a short course that you can do in, it says an hour, but half an hour, 40 minutes. And it just raises the awareness for us as teachers. So look, that's us done. Just a whirlwind tour, some of the things in Office 365 to build inclusive classrooms that has accessible curriculum for all our students. So thank you very much.